How many people out here have had an out-of-body experience? Let me see your hands. Okay. Allow me to share with you my out-of-body experience. I was high above the clouds, floating high. And I look down and I see this 4-year-old girl. She had just been raped by 10 men, and the 11th one was ready to rape her. When he stopped and he went, "No, madam, I can't do this." And there was a woman sitting right there in a stool, hidden, and she said, "Go ahead, I'm paying you for this. Go ahead." And he says, "No, madam, I cannot do this. She's dead." The woman panicked to say, "Pour water on her, pour water on her, pour water on her." And they poured water on this little girl. I felt the splash of cold water over my little body, and I woke up. Now, I'm going to ask you something. Why did I come back? I should have stayed dead, right? Right? I should have stayed dead. Why come back? I came back because of vengeance. Vengeance is mine. I left floating up there and came right back into my body. For 23 years, I lived with this pedophile, serving her and her clients. In the middle of the night, woken up, being interrupted, not allowed to sleep, not allowed to play with other children. So why tell children stranger danger? Why? Most children I have met, and some of them are just as old as me and younger, know they're pedophiles. They know, they love, they trust, they like, and they protect them. But yet here we are saying stranger danger, don't go near strangers, when the pedophile is hiding where? In the family tree. And the thing is, most of the children will never tell. Why won't they tell? I'll tell you for one reason. They love their pedophile. They love their pedophile. It's not about fear. Most of the time it's love. That's what kept me there with my pedophile for 40-some years. Never outing her, never telling anything, because guess what? I was born into it. Most of you had a warm breast of milk. Good for you. Some of us had what? A private part. It was called many things when we were born. That's what suckled us. It was called, this is your toffee, this is your food, this is your chocolate, or whatever. Whatever my dreams were, to be a singer, to be an actor, those were all tied into what? Sexual service. So did I know the difference? No. For all I knew, I was growing up in love. I was growing up in being liked. I was beautiful. I was Marilyn Monroe. I was whatever these people wanted me to be. So I was very confused for a long time about whether I was a woman or a man or who I was. In fact, my identity was stolen from me and my childhood. But allow me to introduce you to Jose. Jose was 56 years old when he came into my child development classroom. I was teaching child development, very proud of being Dr. Rose, very proud of teaching child development and having built schools and done so many wonderful things. And I had just broken the code of silence that I was raped by these 10 men. I didn't know the other backstory. All I knew was I was raped by these 10 men. And so Jose listens to my story, and he's crying. He's 56 years old, and he's crying. And he comes after class, and he tells me the story of how he became the man of the house at 4 years old when his father left his mother to go off with a younger woman. And so she made him the man of the house. Guess what his job was? Servicing her sexually. He had done that from 4 years old to 56 years old, and he was in my classroom when he heard that this was inappropriate, this was harassment, this was being the biggest bully ever, this was crossing the red line of humanity. The red line of humanity is like what Idi Amin did in Uganda, killing people senselessly, and Hitler. Those are the people that crossed the red line, and there's several that have crossed the red line. Well, pedophiles are like that. They have crossed the red line of humanity, and they're worse than those butchers. Why? They touched our future. Children are who? Our future. They touched a baby. They touched a baby. They touched a baby. And so this is why I couldn't tell Jose anything, really, that was useful to him. He had lived with this pedophile how many years? 52 years. That's institutionalized. I mean, most men who live in prison or women live in prison that long, they can't function outside the prison walls. Can Jose function outside not being with his pedophile? No. Could I? Not really. We have a subconscious. It breathes that way. It knows this way. For 20-something years, you're institutionalized. So what do people like us do? I don't know what love is. In fact, I go around asking people, interviewing them every now and then, how's your love life? You know, tell me about how you fell in love. Tell me. Because what am I doing? I want to understand what love is. I don't know what love is. Love and abuse were imprinted at the same time into my subconscious as a baby. I don't know what love is. In fact, most of my relationships haven't really worked out very well. You know, I'm not proud of it, but it's the truth. You know, and now that we're on truth, leave children alone. Let them grow up with blue skies and green fields. Why not? Why don't we protect childhood as a sacred place? I don't know why. A nation that forgets its children is a nation in peril. And that is what I'm saying. That's why I'm standing here. In fact, I can see a lot of children that are out here. A lot of children around the world that are suffering behind closed doors in silence. They don't know the difference between love and abuse. How are they going to come tell you something is happening when all they know is this is life? How do they survive? Okay, so this is what Jose did. Let me tell you what Jose did. Jose went back to his pedophile. She had 3 strokes. Comma is comma, right? 3 strokes. And he was going to take care of her. He didn't know any other way to live. For me, what did I do? I cut off from my pedophile. I became merciless. I said, you know what? I'm done loving this person. I'm going to turn that love and love me. Why would I love somebody like this? But I had no idea at that point about the subconscious, the power of the subconscious. I didn't know that it was like turning the Titanic around. That's a lot of work. Remember, the Titanic blew up with the iceberg, right? And so, yes, how am I going to move my subconscious from being with a pedophile to living alone? Oh my God, when I cut off from the pedophile, I almost died. I had 5 attempts on my life. Me, trying to kill myself, yes, flying off rollerblading places and breaking my wrist in some places because I couldn't live without her. I loved her. It's a long time. I loved her. But I had to break away. I had many kids depending on me to break this bond that I had. And so I entered into a life, 5 years, being suicidal every day, being depressed every day deeply, being so unhappy without her. But I did it. 5 years passed, and guess what my subconscious had to learn? To live without her, to forget that life, okay? And that was hard. I'm not going to tell anybody that it's easy to leave a pedophile, but I'll tell you one thing. When you do, you have to be prepared that it's a process and things take time. But the first thing you have to do is to admit and to say, I'm breaking the code of silence. Because this person in the family tree that's been hiding, this uncle that raped one of my students for many years went unnoticed, she broke the code of silence in my classroom. And we did the sun visualization. The sun visualization is very powerful. East Africa, the sun is very powerful. And so I taught her the thing that I knew from the African spiritualists. The sun is very powerful and very purposeful. And all of a sudden, her happiness just began to lift. I can't tell you, I was jealous actually. How come it was easy for her? And for me, it's like I'm still here trying to figure out what love is, you know? But I was happy for her because she left the classroom. She came in one way and she left another way with joy. Some people, it's easy for them too. As soon as they get the right technique, the right formula that we can figure out, they leave. The other thing is, here's the mess in my life. 23 years. What am I going to do with this? I hated that girl. I hated that 4-year-old girl. I hated her. I didn't want anything to do with her because now I was Dr. Rose Maina. You stay there, I stay here. But I realized I couldn't live without her. I had to go back and get her. I had to come and reclaim my childhood And in my childhood, I found my singing, I found my acting, I found all my gifts that were buried in pedophilia. And I began to pull them out. And now I sing, and now I act, now I'm doing all kinds of things. And my life is a little bit happier. It's a little bit happier. What really made me happy was redefining who I am, was beginning to create a new identity. That's the first thing I tell children, my college students, clients, whoever. When you leave that life of pedophilia and stop being a victim of whatever you're going through, you have to create a new identity for yourself. I started calling myself Rose Shiva, because I felt like I don't need my last name anymore. I'm going to call myself Rose Shiva. That's my spiritual name, actually. Rose, what does Rose stand for? I hate that name. For years, I used another name. But then I realized Rose stands for Rituals of Self-Empowerment. Yes, because that's all I've been teaching people, how to get out of hell. And hell was my pedophile. I never sent her any more money. I stopped communicating with her, and vengeance became mine. We turned it around. I love me. I have to. Well, that's why I interview everybody I meet. What's love? Tell me. In fact, I may interview some of you after this. Just be prepared to tell me your story, because I really need to understand love. But one of my favorite people, she was going through a horrible, horrible, horrible time. Of course, it stems from childhood. And she had created this with her marriage, and it was coming to an end. And I told her, listen, you got to love yourself. You got to turn from whatever that was, whether it's pedophilia, whatever it is, and love you. So do 21 things a week for just you. And I guarantee you, you will have a different life. And she did it. But she didn't come back and tell me what happened until I saw her by accident, really by accident. Honest to God, I did not recognize the woman. I did not recognize her. She had a new hairstyle. She had a sassy attitude. This is not the same person that we were talking. That my husband and my son is beating me now. I said, dude, why are you letting that happen? I call everybody dude. But the point is that she got out. And once again, I was a little jealous, right? Why? Because I'm still in the quest of what? Finding love. And so, practicing these things, loving yourself, being merciless, and stop loving pedophiles. I'm really tired of how people are going on and on and on about pedophiles, and they're forgetting that there are lots of people who are victims of these people, living behind closed doors, lives of quiet desperation, cutting themselves, using drugs, doing all kinds of things, but we're focused on the pedophiles and what they've done. No, we remove the focus. We don't like them. They're terrible people. Let's focus on who? The people that really need the love, they really need the protection, they really need to rebuild their lives. And that's where I've moved my focus to. I've turned my back on that pedophile, and I've decided to embrace a new identity, activist, advocate, and author. And I don't know what else I'm going to take up, because you know what? I have to focus, moving one day at a time towards the goal. And the goal is blue skies, green fields, and freedom from pedophilia for young children, because it's very damaging when lots of little children are growing up without knowing what love is. And when you hear about incidents after incidents of that explosive anger finally expressing itself in ways that are not suitable for humanity. I could tell you that some of these shootings, if we were to really track them down, I guarantee you we will find a pedophile hiding in the family tree. And it's time we started kicking them out. And it's time we stop giving them love, because they don't need it. We become fearless, and merciless. Thank you.